local government.
We're considering private member statements. I'll call the member for Balmain.
Thank you, Mr Temporary Speaker. 3 weeks ago, the state government announced plans to open up over 80 hectares of publicly owned land along the harbour foreshore under the euphemism of urban renewal. This area, known as the Bays Precinct, falls almost exclusively within the electorate of Balmain. This is a wonderful opportunity to get planning right for this precious urban area after so many years of incompetence and ad hoc development by the former Labor government. Despite having a promise for a master plan from no one less than the Premier of New South Wales, Premier Yemma, at Balmain Town Hall, all our community has seen is ad hoc, inappropriate development with no overall strategic plan or master plan for this precious site. My concern is that after the press conferences, the announcements, the gleaming architectural models, the eventual reality is very, very different. We've seen how planning processes actually work on these large waterfront areas, exemplified by the development of Barangaroo. What now sits on that prime waterfront, formerly public land, is a development that is now 70 times larger, 70% larger in terms of gross floor area than the original concept design which was presented to Sydney-siders. The public open space is monstered by towering buildings, and of course there's a luxury casino, luxury multi-million-dollar apartments, but not much for the people of New South Wales. And as we've learnt now with the recent case between Lend-Lease and the Barangaroo Delivery Authority, this project won't deliver any surplus to the community. It may in fact cost the taxpayer for the benefit of Barangaroo and the benefit of Lend-Lease and the casino operators. We need a Sydney where publicly owned land is prioritised for the public good, and what we are concerned about is at the moment we are seeing results for developers but not for the wider community. Last night I attended the community meeting on this issue where hundreds of residents turned out on the cold night to raise their concerns about the secrecy of the project and the organisation running it, which reads like a developer's paradise. The main agency, the lead agency, Urban Growth, has very serious compulsory acquisition powers and seems to be directed, if you look at the board, by the who's who of big-time developers. There's 5 members on this board: the former managing director of Stockland, the former co-founder and managing director of Mirvac, the former general manager of a mega development in Dubai, the former managing director of Time Life, whose experience traverses marketing, retail, gaming and entertainment, and of course John Brogden. This does not fill me or the community with confidence that there's a diversity of skills and expertise on the board of that organisation which is in charge of this precious public land. The breadth of issues that need to be addressed will be significant, and this should not be primarily for the purpose of a developer's bottom line. We must ensure that the community's voice is heard. I'll be having consultations in Lilyfield, Balmain and Glebe in late August and early September, and I encourage people to get involved so we don't have another situation like Barangaroo where 22 hectares of public land is handed over to a developer and it costs the taxpayer of New South Wales with no net gain for Treasury. To me, that is crazy economics, and it's crazy when it comes to the future of the community not here in Sydney, but not just here in Sydney, but also in the wider New South Wales. From the outset, we must say if there is to be development on this site, we need to look at public and affordable housing, we need sporting and recreation facilities, and there must of course be public access to the waterfront. We need to also acknowledge the role of working harbour. We know that Glebe Island in particular is an important area that Sydney as a harbour needs to maintain. Much knowledge and expertise in planning in this area exists in the community. The Bays Precinct Task Force worked for a significant period of time, which was established by the former government, came up with a range of plans and suggestions, a cross-agency program, many of which are strongly supported by the community. The government needs to get this right. We are concerned that Urban Growth is not the right agency to lead this project, and we believe a genuine partnership between local government, that is the City of Sydney and Leichhardt councils, the state government and the community needs to be implemented. We need to see the work that's already gone into this project to be validated and to be acknowledged, including the very strong report produced by the Bays Precinct Task Force, which, as I mentioned, was an interagency and community project. Not perfect, but has outlined many of the important issues. The government needs to acknowledge that there's real experience in the community, and the invitation-only expert summit needs to include community representation so that we as a community and as a local member can engage with these experts and the government and the agencies to make sure, as the users of this land in the future, that it's done to the benefit of the whole of the community. We've seen from the Urban Task Force, the developers lobby group, who have proposed 60-storey towers for Glebe Island and White Bay, it's exactly the wrong way we need to be going. We don't need more congestion, we need more infrastructure for the community to make sure that the challenges Sydney has are faced, and are faced with organisations that we can trust, and with a development and a renewal that can be for the benefit of the whole of Sydney and New South Wales.
I think the member for Bal